South Park Commons co-founder and General Partner Aditya Agarwal joins us now. Super interesting story, right? I'm trying to understand what the strategic change is here, but it seems and reads very much like there are all these amazing people you backed at the very earliest opportunity, and you want to continue backing them, and that might mean a bigger check.
Yeah, Ed, thank you for having me. It's super exciting to be talking to you and talking to you about our new fund. Ed, we started South Park Commons to work with early-stage founders to inflect their ambition and to help them pursue their biggest, boldest, grandest ideas. One of the things we noticed when we started in 2016 was that somewhat counterintuitively, it was almost too easy to just go and work on your first idea that you think of. And our take was that, well, you should take a little bit of time. Go find the version of the idea that is the biggest, most ambitious version. And so with that frame, a couple of years ago, we noticed that the AI revolution was actually fundamentally changing the scope of ambition of our members. Whereas, 5 years ago, a lot of folks were thinking about vertical SaaS startups or somewhat more limited, I would say, ideas. Today, people are coming to us with ideas for building nuclear-powered, essentially cargo ships, alternative versions of launching things into space. They're looking to basically completely transform our grid infrastructure in America. And I think that a lot of our take with the new fund is that we want the ambition of our fund to match the ambition of what our members tackle. And that does mean being able to write bigger checks and to be a high conviction partner further down kind of like the capital stack.
You have a -1 to 0 model. What does that mean?
What that really means is that when you kind of leave a big tech job or you kind of leave academia, it's super tempting to go and just work on the first thing that comes to your mind. I started SPC because when I left Dropbox, I was the CTO there. I was pretty lucky to have a number of amazing options. Go join a blue chip venture firm, go start another company, go join as an exec. But Silicon Valley is so good at kind of giving you kind of the pattern match to like what you should do. If you have done X, you should do Y. But our take was that instead of jumping at the first thing, slow down. Take some time to figure out like what you're truly passionate about. And we call that phrase, and we didn't have this in the beginning when we started SPC, but we now call that gestation phase the -1 to 0 phase, where you let ideas gestate, you tinker, you explore, and then over the course of like 3, 6, 9 months, you allow the idea to crystallize into the biggest form of what it can be.
Let's take Cognition and Scott Wu as a case study. Scott's a regular contributor on this show. They have had massive success, growth, momentum. Take this fund and apply it to how you'd now approach Cognition and continue backing them.
It's a great example. Scott actually started his first company out of South Park Commons as well, which was called Lunch Club. And he was one of the first members that we had at SPC circa 2017, 2018. And when I look at what Scott started working on 3 years ago or 4 years ago now, basically like what would the modern coding stack look like with the early forms of Devin, I think that when I look at how I would apply this new fund is that I would just back up the truck with the first check. And basically like write as big a check as possible to Scott and then continue to back him in kind of like later rounds. But obviously also working closely with the ecosystem. I think that it's so easy to paint Silicon Valley kind of funding as a zero-sum game. But I strongly believe that in order to kind of allow a company to achieve its asymptotic success, you need to work with, I know you had Alfred and Pat, and, obviously all of kind of like the folks downstream of us as well.
Really appreciate that reference, but it's interesting to see what's also happening with a focus at the earlier stage.